Hey guys, Happy New Year. It's Taylor and Polly here from Beaten Jeans. We hope you had a great holiday. Today we have the honor and pleasure of interviewing Cheryl Adams-Borgen. We've tried a couple times. We think we figured it out. So we're going to go ahead and invite her in now. She is a fellow CDH1 girl. She has had a mastectomy and we are excited to hear about her journey.
Yes,
Hopefully we can all learn a thing or two from her wisdom.
Let's see. We've invited Cheryl. We're just waiting for her to hit that accept button.
All right, I think I'm here.
Yeah.
There we go.
Hi, Cheryl.
Hi.
Oh my gosh.
Happy New Year.
Thank you. I'm a total newbie. I've done nothing on Instagram, so I'm like, I see no invitation.
Oh, shoot.
I'm sorry, that was my bad. You had asked me and I didn't think about telling you needed to be on your phone.
You did it though. Good job. You're here.
Thank you.
Where are you coming from? Are you in Arizona? Are you in New Mexico or Colorado?
I'm in Denver. Yeah, well, suburb of Denver. I'm soon to be in Colorado Springs.
Oh, cool. You're moving there?
Yeah, we're retiring there. We bought a house last year, October, and we had to mitigate our own asbestos, which was interesting. 2 60-year-olds scraping ceilings
You
with.
did it yourself?
Oh yeah.
Oh my wow. That's great.
I didn't have $40,000 to pay someone else to do it. So if anybody out there needs to take the asbestos off, call me. I'll hook you up.
Have all the equipment.
Well, not only that, but you can't find anything on the internet because nobody wants to take liability for telling you to do this or that and then you get sick. So I had to piece it all together on my own, and
wow,
it was
you guys are really handy, huh?
Yeah, that's good. Good.
Well, yeah, we're not doing our own reno. That's what's taking so long. Is the reno is almost finished.
Good. Good.
I love Colorado Springs
too. I love
so
it.
Pretty.
Pikes Peak.
Me too. I know. We have maybe 4 of us CDH1ers that I'm aware of here in Colorado. So maybe we'll have to have a get together. We got one up north, one in the spring.
That's nice.
A couple of others.
Really good idea, actually. Like a Southwest area, maybe meet up.
Yeah, I'd love it.
Yeah. Well, cool.
Well, we're excited to hear about your story and your journey. So,
what do you want to know?
Taking us back to the beginning, how you learned that you're a carrier of this mutation.
Okay. Hopefully this isn't too. I'm going to hold this with my arm, so hopefully this is not too bouncy. But so 3 years ago, it's probably in. Yeah, I guess it was in January of 2018 or so. My sister Terry and I were talking on the phone, sisters do. And I mentioned that I'd been vomiting for no reason and more than I'd done my whole life. And my sister's like, yeah, me too. That's kind of weird. So we both decided, well, you go to your doctor and ask him, and I'll go to my doctor and ask him. So my doctor said, well, it sounds like IBS, which is, I have other symptoms that could be that. And my sister went to hers, and she had H. pylori years ago, which can be a precursor for stomach cancer, but isn't necessarily associated with this gene mutation. And he said, well, you're due for an endoscopy. Let's just do that. So he goes in there, and he finds she has an ulcer that she didn't know she had. He didn't know she had. And, of course, since the ulcer broke through the stomach lining, it activated the cancer, and the cancer was in the ulcer.
I didn't know that.
So, yeah, so she got tested since they found cancer. What they do now is they test everybody for the 30 whatever genes that are associated with cancers. And she was positive for the CDH1, plus she had a VUS for something else.
What's VUS?
They thought maybe she had Lynch syndrome, variant of unknown significance, which is just a gene mutation that they have not had enough people die from to say that this causes a pathogenic, it's a pathogenic mutation. So she called me, I got tested, I was positive, my other sister was not positive, none of their kids are positive, my youngest son is positive. At that point, she made arrangements to, they told her it was probably stage 2, she made arrangements to have her surgery in June, I had mine in August. But they took hers out and they told her it was actually stage 3 because they found cells on the esophagus. So she started chemo and radiation, and unfortunately for her, her journey ended in October. This is a picture of her. Let's see here.
Oh my gosh, she died this October?
She did on Halloween, which is her favorite holiday. She died at home with her family.
So sorry.
She'd gone through, I don't know, probably 2 or 3. She was either on her 3rd or 4th round of getting ready to start chemo, and it did. She went back to the NIH to have Dr. Davis evaluate her to see if she could do the HIPEC, which is the chemo wash. And she had cancer everywhere in her peritoneum and all over. And she had just had her gallbladder out, and they found stomach cancer in the bile duct, which is very rare.
Wow.
So it had already spread. So, yeah, unfortunately. And so I'm glad you guys are doing this, because people that are on the fence, you know, it's your total decision, your life. My sister did it as soon as she could, and she still passed.
You're right.
So my journey then was August. I had actually July or June. I had an endoscopy. At the NIH. I got into that study in kind of a weird way. I kind of found the CDH1 group on the Facebook, and I saw the mention of NIH, but I hadn't investigated that really. And I went online to look up my variant. You know, they give you that big long number of your variant. So I searched that, and I found the database where they keep all the variants of all the people that they found so far. And
I'd like for you to share that link with us.
I'll have to look it up. It's actually it's in the protocol. You know, the protocol that they put out like a couple years ago, and they just redid it last year or the year before. It's in there. The link is in there. So I read that whole article. I'm like, oh, look, here's a link where they have them all. So I clicked on it, didn't see my variant there. So I wrote the person, actually it was, oh my gosh, I can't remember her name now. She doesn't work at the NIH in that capacity anymore.
Marie?
She was there. Yeah. Maureen, yes. Maureen. Okay. Maureen was monitoring the list, and it wasn't her name on there, so I wrote the person, and I said, hey, my variant's not on there. You want my info? And she's like, well, actually, would you like to join the study? So,
oh, wow.
Okay. Yeah, that's how I
weren't even looking to join the study.
I didn't know what I was doing yet.
Yeah, okay.
But once I got hooked up with the Facebook group and saw how many people on there were doing so well, I mean, obviously, people have side effects, and a lot of people are not doing so well, but so many are. I really got the courage to decide to have my own, because on my endoscopy, they only found one cell, one signet ring cell.
Okay, signet cell.
One signet ring cell that on all the samples they took, like 88 or 100.
And did you go to NIH for that initial scope? Okay.
Yeah. And back then they were paying for the first visit. They don't do that anymore. Now the first visit's on you, but then if you're watching and you don't know this yet, they pay for everything they do. You don't have to pay anything for anything they do. Right. So I'd had my endoscopy, and my mother died from stomach cancer when I was 11. Oh. Her mother had lobular breast cancer in her mid-50s, got a double mastectomy, then died of stomach cancer in her 60s.
Oh my gosh.
My great-grandmother died of intestinal cancer, which is the same difference, right? Yeah. My maternal aunt had lobular breast cancer. So I have a lot of family history.
Huge family history.
So while my husband's online looking up ways that we can fight cancer through nutrition, which you can with spontaneous cancer a lot of times, he comes to me and he's like, well, we can do this and that. I said, honey, this is genetic cancer. It doesn't work that way. Right. You know, even if I got rid of what was in there, the genetics mean my cells are going to reproduce, and the genetic mutation is still going to be there. Someone asked me, could you have a stomach implant? You know, a stomach, like instead of a liver transplant. Yeah. I'm like, no, because eventually my cells would replace all those cells in the transplant, and then we'd have the same situation.
Oh, is that the reasoning?
That's my understanding, but that was in my own brain. I didn't ask anybody that, but your body replaces all the cells and all your organs.
Yeah, it does make sense.
You know, anyway. So I decided to do it. I went in on August 18th, and I had it done. And I was 10 days at home.
This is 2 months after your sister had hers removed.
Right. She had it in June, and she had just bought a house, and she had to move, you know, either get out of her apartment by June or, you know, pay an exorbitant extra amount, because they were redoing the building. So she had to pay extra rent for like 4 months before she moved in like December to her new house. And while she was going through chemo, you know, she lost like 70 pounds. It was way too much.
Tell us your sister's name.
Terry Adams Miller. That's her name on Facebook.
Okay.
And she, you know, she was a beautiful person, and I don't want to talk too much about her because I will cry, and I'm going to do that on this interview.
Okay.
But so I had it out. I was in there 10 days because I had an issue with my fentanyl patch. They put a fentanyl patch on you to sort of deaden everything, like from your chest down, so you don't feel a lot of pain, which is a blessing. But when they took it off, I was in a lot of pain. And I'll rag on a doctor there. I don't remember his name. He was an intern, and he was the guy who was the overnight guy when I was there.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I had communication issues with my nurse, and I finally got mean and interface. I said, "Get me a doctor now." You know, you got to advocate for yourself. I was trying to be polite and, "Can you call?" You know, asking, and finally I said, "Get him over here," with a few other choice words that I won't repeat here.
Yeah.
And I had met him early in the day. He introduced himself, and you know, whatever. So I saw him, and he looks at me. He says, "Well, it sounds like you're having a gallbladder attack." Some doctors, you know. I looked at him. I said, "Dude, read my chart. They took my gallbladder out with my stomach."
Oh my
my gosh, you didn't know?
He's like, "Oh, okay. Let me get you some medication." I'm like, "Mm-hmm." So,
Just pain medication
anyway,
was what he was thinking?
yeah, they gave me something for the pain that let me
And you
sleep.
didn't have an epidural, huh? Or it wasn't working?
It was an epidural. It was
okay.
a fentanyl patch. The fentanyl patch numbs you, and they had taken it off because they take it off at some point.
Okay.
You know, you don't have it forever.
Right.
And that's when I just had a couple days of being very uncomfortable. I sounded like the baby Tyrannosaurus in that Rex movie where he's like, "Oh." That was me.
Oh, that's terrible. But eventually they were able to get your pain managed?
Yeah. And I was eating, you know, within the week or so, I was eating solid food. I hear people online that say, "I was on liquids for months." I'm like, well, I don't know. I was on solid. By the time I got home, my dinner when I got home was like those little custard cups, like half a cup, mac and cheese and turkey meatballs.
Wow.
Oh.
That was 10 days after your surgery?
Yeah.
Wow.
So you haven't had any issues with, or you didn't have any issues with eating initially?
No, not really. But my issue was the day I went home for my surgery, I was stroking. I had a stroke and I didn't realize it.
Oh.
I was sitting in the airport and I was like rubbing my hands on my legs. I was in a wheelchair. You know, it was Sunday, so the NIH wasn't really open. And I thought, this is a weird feeling. My hand feels weird. It's not my hand on my leg. Well, it turns out my hand was numb. That's why it didn't feel right.
Oh, wow.
And then it was my arms were numb. And I tried to eat chips. And I'm looking out the window like this. And I go like this with the chips in my hand. And I thought to myself, "Hand, that's not where my mouth is. Try again." And I did this again. And I went, okay. And I turned my head, you know. And at the time, I didn't realize that was a stroke symptom.
Right.
Along with the numbness in my hands. So I got home.
Was your husband with you? Traveling?
Yes, he was with me. Okay. Yeah. But it seemed fine. It went away, and I got home, and I inherited some medical marijuana state. So I have a medical marijuana card, which really, really, really helped with. If you have it in your state, use it for the nausea. It's the best.
Oh, okay.
And it stimulate your appetite because you don't actually get hungry, but you look at food and go, "Ooh, that looks good."
Oh,
and then you want to eat.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it's like I call it head munchies.
Yeah.
Are you eating gummies?
I don't eat gummies because gummy and that kind of candy is kind of hard to digest without a stomach.
Right, the sweetness.
So I vape. So just a couple of hits on the vape pen and I'm good. But
that's really
so I get home and I light up a joint, right? Because I hadn't smoked in 10 days. I'm like, I'm going to smoke now. So I finished that and then I can't stand up and I'm laughing at myself thinking I'm just high, right? So it's my kids. I'm like, "Kids, come over and get me up." And they stood me up. I said, "Don't let go. I will fall down." I realized at that point I was standing on my own weight, but I had no balance. I said, "Go sit me in the chair. Tell your dad we're going to the ER." We went to the ER. They did a CT scan. They're like, "Oh, yeah, you have a brain bleed." I'm like, "Oh,
okay."
So, I'm in ICU for like 3 days. A couple days later, the neurologist gets up on my brain for like 45 minutes trying to find an aneurysm to clip off.
Mm-hmm.
The aneurysm is a break in the blood vessel, and they put a clip on it so it won't bleed anymore. He's like, "I can't find where that blood came from, but I see you had another stroke in addition to that one." So I had at least 2 strokes. They're little. I didn't have any loss of function. So I'll show you. My stroke was here, which is a hemorrhagic stroke on the up here on the outside rather than like deep inside your brain. So I have had no effects from that, but
wow, that's frightening.
Do they think that's related to the stomach surgery?
I called them. Well, I called on Sunday, and 2 days later, when they called me back, I'm like, "Oh, well, I had a stroke. Thanks for calling back right away."
Right.
I gave them some shit, and they're like, "What? You had a stroke?" So They said nobody else has had that. And my personal opinion is that I was in there for 10 days, and part of their protocol is Leprin shots, which is a blood thinner. You get 4 a day. So I'm like, okay, I had 40 Leprin shots, and I think my blood just got so thin it leaked through someplace it wouldn't normally have fit.
Oh,
that's my theory.
But then, right, your blood just got too thin that you weren't clotting at all.
What's the Leprin for? That's to help, like, to keep the blood from
clotting.
It's an anti-blood clot med. It's like heparin, only it's Leprin. It's the name, but
and that's is that standard for everybody who has their stomach out?
Yes, it's standard for any surgery. Basically, they usually put you on blood clot medications.
Right.
In fact, my sister Terry, after she had her surgery, she's complaining of a lot of pain in her shoulder. And you know how you can have gas that gets up in your shoulder, or referred pain, that kind of thing. They're like, oh, that's probably what it is, but let's take you for a, whatever it was, MRI or whatever they took. And they're like, oh, you have a blood clot. So she had a blood clot. Yes. And before she died, she had a blood clot in her leg. That didn't kill her, but you know, so blood clots are an issue when you have surgery. I'm 61. I'll be 62 next month. You know, and nobody in my family has stroke history.
And how old were you when you had your surgery?
57.
57.
57.
So
and I had.
How has it been now? So it's 3 years.
Well, the prior year in 2017, I had both my knees replaced. Then in 2018, I had my surgery for my stomach. And in 2000, then I had a stroke. Then in 2019, I had this huge hernia. I don't know how to send you guys pictures, but I was going to send you a picture. I call it my alien baby because I literally look pregnant, but it's just right above my belly button. It stuck out probably 6 inches.
And
it was this huge hernia, you know, and the doctors, they don't want to operate on that for like a year after you have your surgery unless it bursts or some problem. So I had to wait till 2019. Then I had the hernia repaired.
Wow.
Now I have another one at the top of my incision.
People that have had hernias.
I wonder what you can do to prevent that from happening.
Well, I don't know if it's a function of this, you know, the way you put it back together. I was 100 pounds overweight when I actually, you know, started this journey. Now I'm 50 pounds overweight. I'm one of those people that did not lose as much weight as everybody else, and I'm still bitter about it because I really need to lose 100 pounds. I really, you know, everyone's, I'm too skinny, I can't gain weight. I'm like, oh, please. So you won't necessarily lose a lot of weight. Depends. And I was very, very good about eating every 2 hours and drinking between eating. And so I think that also helped me keep my weight down. Plus,
you're okay with food and everything. It doesn't.
Yeah.
You don't get dumping or bioreflux or.
Well, I sleep on a incline to prevent the dumping. If I eat too close to bedtime, I do get dumping. I use Carafate, which is prescribed by the NIH to help with that. I didn't get a lot of. I almost never got early dumping. I almost always, when I had dumping, it was late dumping, which means instead of early dumping within an hour after eating, it's late dumping, which is 1 to 3 hours after you eat. And the symptoms are a little different usually. Oftentimes, early dumping is associated with vomiting. Late dumping, at least for me, never was. But, you know, they make jokes about it on the CDH1 page. It's like, you always have sugar or glucose tablets with you or near you. I carry a cooler everywhere I go, so I have my food. And I carry extra drinks. I haven't ever had anyone give me a problem for having food where I'm not supposed to have it, because I'm like, I'm all ready to show them the scar and everything.
Right.
Well, hey, I have no stomach, so I got to eat. You know, but people have been pretty polite. I haven't had a problem with that.
Good.
So is that how you are able to deal with dumping? Because I don't know a lot about it, but you said
the dumping
sugar tablet. Does that help? Is that what is going on? Your sugar's just going through too fast?
Well, what happens is when you eat too many carbs or too much sugar at a meal, and it's kind of weird because I eat sugar all the time. I don't want to show you my drawer over here because I got bags of candy in it.
I do too.
Okay, so
you want to know what
I eat a lot of sugar, and I love my carbs, but I don't normally have the dumping. So the dumping is when you eat too much or you eat too many carbs, your pancreas is like, we got to get some insulin in there. So they shoot a bunch of insulin in there, and your blood sugar drops. So what happens is your blood sugar shoots up. And that's when you get, at least for me, when I get hot, I feel like I'm having a hot flash, which I'm way past menopause, so that's not what's happening. I've taken off all my clothes. I'm like, okay, get ready for the drop. Go eat something. because the blood sugar, once it gets that high, then it's going to drop.
Right.
Now, previously, the lowest I was 65, 69. The other day I did it and I was 45.
Wow.
So that's really low. If you let it go too long and you don't recognize the symptoms or you try and ignore it, like I'll just get through this, whatever, don't do that because you'll get confusion, dizziness. I mean, so confused I couldn't figure out how to work the blood sugar meter.
Wow.
And so when I'm sitting at the counter with my husband, I'm like, don't let me fall off this chair because I'm getting ready to do that.
Oh, wow.
And I kind of figured out it was probably dumping. I said, quick, give me that Hershey bar in the pantry. And it brought me right back, which is not recommended, of course, because you eat too much sugar and you'll dump again.
Right.
But what you do if you're smart, you eat a little bit of carbs or a little bit of sugar, take a little juice, and then also eat it with protein. The protein and the fat is what keeps your blood sugar more even. So if you're going to eat carbs, make sure you eat it with protein or fat.
We've heard that. We've heard a lot of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's really experimentation because everybody is different with how their dumping works. Some people, I read something on the CDH1 list, somebody was experiencing multiple times a day and they didn't know what was going on. And they may just have not been eating enough protein.
That's crazy. So this whole time I thought dumping was diarrhea. So it's not really that,
it can be,
like
but it's
pancreas dumping the insulin.
I thought.
Yeah, it's never been diarrhea for me. Yeah, it never been.
It's the pancreas dumping the insulin.
Well, yeah, the pancreas dumps insulin in there. Another thing that can happen with the diarrhea is that your body, when you have too much, your small intestine is not your stomach. It's very small. And I'm 3 years out, so I can eat pretty big meals. But in the beginning, if you eat too much, your small intestine goes, we need to get this food through here. And it takes all the water from your body and sticks it into your colon so it can process the food.
Gotcha.
That's where you get the diarrhea. Plus, if you drink initially, when you first start, if you drink when you eat, it puts the food through too fast and you don't get the nutrition. So you're like, I'm eating all the time. Why am I not gaining any weight or whatever? Well, are you drinking while you're eating? That could be the problem. Me, now, I guzzle it, man. I drink, this is my liquid IV, which I drink all day, every day.
What's in it? Is it water or something else?
It's liquid IV.
Liquid IV.
It's the brand name, liquid IV. It's an electrolyte drink. It does have 11 grams of sugar per packet. And each packet does 16 ounces of water. So if you're really sugar sensitive, it might not work for you. But you can drink water as long as you put something in it. A little bit of juice, lemon squeeze, mix it with one of those drops. You put droplets in there to make it drink.
Can you put salt in it? Is salt enough to make it work?
You'd have to try that. I never did try that because I personally don't like drinking salty water. But
yeah, that sounds terrible. They should invent a liquid IV that doesn't contain sugar for the sugar sensitive people, right?
Well, they have some other brands that contain less sugar. So you just have to look. I just like this brand. I like the taste. The tangerine is my favorite right now. And one of the things when I was recovering that I found for me was that your taste change. So in the beginning, I really loved this or that, and now I can't stand it.
Right. Oh.
One thing that's taken me through my whole recovery, and I still love it, is it's called Overstuffed Beef Ravioli by Chef Boyardee. So he's my new boyfriend. I eat a can a day. Half a can of that with a quarter cup of Parmesan cheese has a lot of protein, like 18 grams of protein.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, you wouldn't think it's junk food, and it's probably not the best for me, but I like it. It's comfort food. It's soft, easy to chew. It's warm. It's bland.
Yeah.
It's not that salty, but the cheese makes it salty. Put the cheese on.
Yeah.
But you find the things that you like and you stick with them, things that work for you that don't cause blood sugar. Yeah.
Wow, well, you've got it all figured out. Was it just your third year in August? So you're your fourth year now.
Yes, it was my third year, but what happened was since I had the lobular breast cancer as well, I had a double mastectomy in August of 2020.
Okay.
I had that done. I was not prepared. I didn't want to do it. I wasn't really ready to do that, but my husband was supposed to retire that December, so I was going to be losing my health insurance, so I figured I better do it. Unfortunately, the NIH doesn't have the breast part, down, they can send you to Walter Reed for like an MRI, because you have to have them every 6 months or whatever, and those are expensive if you're paying out of pocket from your insurance. So last time I had one, I paid $500 before they'd even send me to the back.
Wow.
You know, and I have really good insurance. So I had that taken off, and then I've had 3 fat fill surgeries since then. And I was due to have my implants in November, but because my sister was dying, we didn't know the timing on that. Plus, I needed to be moved into my new house before I tried to recover for 6 to 8 weeks of not doing anything, really not lifting 10 pounds. And I couldn't do that if I was moving, right? So I delayed it. I canceled it. And then my son, who's 22, he his last endoscopy should have been his 4th, but I think it was his 3rd because we missed one during the pandemic. And they found 7 spots with the signet ring cells.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Yeah, Dr. Davis kind of mentioned, I think he broke a record there. But, you know, he is very much does not want his stomach out. But what Dr. Davis said was that these cells were starting to undifferentiate. So when you're born, you have all these stem cells that are not differentiated, and they differentiate to brain cells, muscle cells, stomach cells, etc. So these are stomach cells that are undifferentiating into cancer cells, basically.
Right.
So he said, you know, the doctors don't say you must get your stomach out. They don't work that way. They're like, I highly recommend that you get that out before your next endoscopy is due, which would be mid-March. So we will be at the NIH. His surgery is scheduled for February 14th. My birthday is the 13th. I'll be 62. His birthday is the 21st. He'll be 23.
Oh my
Gosh.
Well, hopefully it's a happy birthday for you all, you know, like.
Well, he's
grateful that
he's
he
got
did
a lot of challenges. Yeah, he doesn't want to do it, and he's
I don't think anybody really wants to do it.
No.
Yeah, Polly, I heard
He
you
wants
just
to
made
call
a
and
difference.
complain to me. I'm a good ear. I'll dish it right back at him.
I know. Well, and
You know,
I know.
Thank goodness.
Yes, and you are just a bucket of wisdom.
Yeah,
I'm so
I know.
grateful to be talking to you.
Yeah, I wanted to mention the life insurance thing. You guys have talked about it in some of your other interviews. I did get life insurance, but Karen Strelitzer on the group, she's an insurance person that their company started covering people with CDH1 because she helped them get the information that allowed them to be able to do that. Because most places go, cancer, and that's it.
Oh, so
but once you have your stomach out,
if you learn you have the mutation, she will still be able to find some help cover.
Well,
that's
good
wonderful.
To know. She's on the Facebook group, the CDH1
Yeah,
group?
she's on the CDH1, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Good.
She also has T-shirts. I just bought a No Stomach, No Problem t-shirt, which is another topic. I mean, not everybody has no problems. That's a recent thread on there as well.
I was going to ask you that question.
I've had problems. I had to go on anti-depressants. I've never been depressed in my life, never had a problem, and I was so angry and raging and crying, and I just couldn't stop. It just wasn't stopping. So I went on the medication, and it's been very nice to smooth me out. But I understand that you have less serotonin because it's made in your gut, and your stomach is part of your gut. And although you still have some because it's made in your small intestine as well, you lose a lot of it. So without that helps moderate your moods. So a lot of people have to go on medication. So I'm here to say, do not be ashamed to go on medication. There's nothing wrong with having to take medication to help your depression, because you more than likely will be depressed at some point during this process. It is hard.
And those medications are absorbed. Okay. Obviously, it helps.
Yes. You can't take extended release medications because by the time they release, they're through your system and they won't do you any good. You can't take anything with NSAIDs. You can take NSAIDs, for example, every time I have a surgery, even Dr. Davis has me on NSAIDs, alternating with acetaminophen, which is Tylenol. But you don't want to take them on a regular basis because they will chew through your lining of your esophagus, and you don't have not your esophagus, your small intestine. And, since losing your stomach, you don't have a backup. So, you don't want to do that.
Eat everything,
Did you do therapy too?
I did some therapy. I got through what I needed to get through. And I'll pick it up if I need it again. Right now, I'm personally, This is totally honest with you guys. Personally, I'm going to need some sex therapy because after losing my stomach and then losing my breasts, I don't want to even do anything.
I was
and that's
telling my sister the same thing about me. I feel the same way.
Right. I don't blame
yeah.
you.
Yeah, you had a double mastectomy, didn't you? I saw. Yeah. So that's going to be a journey. I don't know if getting implants is going to make me feel more normal. I was able to save my nipples, so I'll look normal, but there's no sensation there for the most part. And so that part of my sexual experience isn't there anymore.
Right.
So my husband's very understanding, and we'll figure it out.
Right.
But again, anyone watching this, don't let stuff like that break you, I guess is what I'm going to say, because everything can be worked through. I kind of, I've answered a couple of posts. I'm a Christian, and so we use an analogy of being in the valley and being on the rooftops. We're in the valley. It's really hard to see God because he's way up there and you're way down there. And when you're on the mountaintops, it's much easier because you got all the sunshine and all that. So I've used that analogy with my journey here because sometimes it's dark days. You're down there in the bottom, slogging every day. Oh my gosh, I threw up again, or I gotta eat again. Oh wait, I have to stop drinking 20 minutes and then eat, and then don't drink for 20 minutes and then drink, and then you know what I mean. It's very intense the first few months, but
it's very overwhelming.
Yeah, to give you hope, I drove myself out to California. I'm in Denver. Drove myself out there when I was 2 months.
Wow.
2 months after post-surgery. I drove myself out there, by myself, stayed there for, a couple of months with my sister, and we kind of just recovered together, which is always helpful when you have somebody else you can complain about, whatever is going on with you.
Set your timers to be in sync.
Yeah. But when I was a month, they have you at the NIH, they have you come back at a month, 3 months, 6 months, and then you're on annual visits. So I went back by myself at a month because I told my husband, look, I'm just flying a plane. I get there, take a taxi. It's not a big deal. Well, it was a big deal. I got to the airport in Baltimore, and I ate because I had to eat, and then I felt bad. And when you don't have a stomach, you don't vomit anymore. You can vomit up something you just ate, but if it's down there, it's not going anywhere. So I dry heaved for 12 hours. They had to admit me. It was an outpatient visit, right? You're just going there to go to clinic, basically, and get your blood taken and all that. And they had to admit me because I wouldn't stop. It was horrible.
Do you think it was something? Was it what you ate that caused that? Was it something new that you were trying?
Well, it could have been started by what I ate at the airport, which was soup. And, early on, they say don't really eat soup because it's solid and liquid, and you're supposed to try and keep that separated. But I think more likely it was the dehydration from the flight.
Okay.
Because you can't, even in the airports now, at least, some of the airports have hint water, which is a great water because it's got a hint of the fruit in there, and it just tastes great, and you can drink it without having the issue with plain water. Plain water is so dense, it sort of clings to your esophagus and causes nausea. And the other theory is that your intestine's not used to getting just water because it usually has stuff coming from the stomach, which is water mixed with everything else, and it kind of freaks out. All I know is I still cannot drink plain water.
Okay.
I can if I was in the desert and there's nothing else to drink, I'd drink it, but I'd probably be dry heaving after each
Oh, wow. That's scary.
plug because it's
That
not
scares me
comfortable.
more than anything, I feel like, because I work out, I ride my bike, and I run, and
You can just have some
guzzle water.
Put some lemon in it.
Just take it. You can, if you don't have juice, there's a thing called oh my gosh. I'm gonna have to send you this to put on your. I can't remember it now. It's lime, lemon, just lemon, or no. It's dehydrated lemon, lime, or orange. It comes in packets. There's no sugar in it. It's just the essence of the fruit, and you can put that in water, and you're fine. Yeah, you can put, if you don't have, it's good for traveling. You don't have juice handy, or you don't have a lemon you could squeeze in your water. Just put some of that in there.
Okay. Oh, good.
Or carry Mio drops. Those little drops. Yeah, just whatever it takes. And some people can drink plain water now. I just can't.
Splash the lemon.
And everybody's different. So if you go online and you look at everyone's symptoms, don't think, oh my gosh, that's going to happen to me, because it might, but it probably won't. Everybody's different.
So did
Everybody starts
NIH,
with the same.
did they just hydrate you and then you were good to go for your annual
Well,
or your
actually,
1 month visit?
I had to be on IV anti
Yeah.
whatever that, it's like Zofran, Compazine, to help make it anti-nausea medication. They put me on that. And by the next day I was good, but I had to stay like 3 days, and it was going to be like a 1-day thing.
Gosh.
Wow.
But and I guess one other thing, as far as encouraging to people are always saying, "Oh, you're so brave. You've done all this." And I don't feel very brave. For me, I'm not doing it because I'm like, I'm going to beat this and just be courageous. It's more like, well, if I want to get from point A to point B, I got to go forward. And if I'm not moving forward, I'm never going to get there.
Right.
So I just keep logging along, get through, do what you got to do to get through it.
Yep.
And
Realistic.
I don't know. Yeah. One of the things that happened to me that I don't know if it's happened to other people is I totally lost my filter. So you're lucky I haven't dropped an F-bomb here yet.
Like, I don't care anymore. I'm going to say what I want.
I don't. I curse like a sailor, and I tell people what I think, and I dump to any toxic people in my life, and it's just not worth it.
Yeah. I think everyone should be.
It is good.
Actually.
And before I was kind of worried about what people thought. They think I'm fat, they think I'm too loud, whatever. It's now like, there goes that F-bomb, but it's silent.
That's so funny. That's great, though. You're not going to waste your time on all that little stuff that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
No. I mean, there's plenty of other challenges. My teeth, that's one of the things. I struggle to take my vitamins on a regular basis, so I have a month, those pill dispensers. I just got one that's for a month because I hate filling it up at a week's time. So now I take these little baggies, and I put all my vitamins and my probiotics in there, and I carry them around with me so that when I eat, I try and remember to take it. Because
you have a problem taking it, meaning you don't remember to take it, or is it not able to go down?
Oh no, I don't remember to take it.
Okay.
I have the ProCare chewable vitamins. The salted caramel is my favorite. They also have a cinnamon roll and a dinner mint one. I encourage you to try that. They're not a gummy, but they're chewable like a toffee, only like a soft.
Oh, okay.
They're good. I use chewable probiotics. American Family, I think, might be the brand. Chewable probiotics, because that helps with digestion. And my medications are smaller pills. But if I had to take, when I go and get a new medication, I always say, is this come in a chewable form? Does this come in a liquid form? Because I'm not sure I can take this huge horse pill.
Right.
And you can take it, but it's a matter of how much you can swallow at once. In the beginning, you can't swallow very much at once. Now I can gulp, 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 and I don't really have an issue with it. But in the beginning, you can't.
Bag of pills. So do you take all of that at once, or is that something you do throughout the day?
Well, you have to have 15 milligrams of calcium carbonate to keep your bone density up, and hopefully your teeth won't run out of your mouth. And so that's divided into 3 to 5 times a day. I was taking a chewable calcium, and I didn't like it because didn't really taste that good. And I had to take 5 of them. So I was always getting through the day, and I'm like, well, I've had 3, and then I found these, and I only take 3 of them, and they're so delicious, So in the morning, I take my Bariatric Multivitamin, and you can't take that with any other vitamins because it has iron. It interferes with iron absorption when you take it with other calcium absorption and stuff. So I take that first. That's also chewable, ProCare Bariatric Chewable Multivitamin. And then I wait 2 hours. So the next time I have to eat, then I'm ready to take more vitamins. And in fact, I should have eaten probably at 1 o'clock, and I didn't. So people always say, "We're not hungry. I'm never hungry." You're not really hungry the same way because you don't have ghrelin hormone. That's only in your stomach. When your stomach goes, the ghrelin hormone goes, but you feel empty. It's kind of a weird feeling. I mean, it's hard to describe to people that don't have it, but you don't feel hungry. But if you let yourself go long enough, at least for me, I get this instinctual panic that I need to get food. Right. I'm like, where can I find food? Where's the protein? I can't eat that. It's all carbs. I got to eat some protein, and I'm like hunting for the food. If I have to, I'll eat sugar because that's readily available everywhere. Right. But you can't always find a protein that's good for you. I was eating those meat sticks, dried meat sticks. They have some brands now that don't have the nitrates in them, but when I went to my gastroenterologist and explained that I was eating these like 3 times a day, he's like, I wouldn't do that because that's not real good for your intestines, so I don't eat them at all now.
Yeah.
And if I had to, I would, but I just figured.
Peanut butter. Isn't peanut butter fat?
I love peanut butter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Peanut butter, I eat peanut butter on pretzels is my favorite way to eat it. But if you can't have too many carbs, then you got to eat it on, like a banana. That's a lot of carbs.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't just eat peanut butter plain.
Right.
Like celery, maybe.
Well, you can't eat I don't even like celery now. You can't eat celery in the beginning because it's too stringy,
Yeah.
too tough. In fact, the first 3 or 4 months, it's no seeds, no skins.
Okay.
So no tomato skins. You can have tomatoes, take the skins off, and take the seeds out. That's not even worth it. So I just waited.
Yeah.
Can't eat nuts. Can't eat grapes unless you peel them. Stuff like that.
Gosh, you have to
Because
take
it's stuff
the seeds out
that's
of the
hard to
grapes
digest.
too, those little tiny
You
things.
should probably live on protein shakes in the beginning, huh?
Yeah, but you
You
can't
do.
that.
I did do a lot of protein shakes, and at that point, I really enjoyed them warm. Now, sorry, everything's got to be really cold. I like it really cold. So things change. Don't give up if something doesn't work. Try it cold. Try it warm. Try it cooked. Try it raw.
Okay.
If you have a dairy intolerance, which some people get, just try it later. As people on those say, if it doesn't work now, try it again later. And I never really, like, I hear people, like I said, they're on a liquid diet for weeks and weeks, or they're still on soft food and it's been months and months. I'm like, I'm not willing to wait that long before I try solid food. Like I said, I was trying it in the hospital.
Right.
Yeah.
A little funny about that is in the NIH, they have a specific diet that you adhere to for post-gastrectomy, right?
Yeah.
So when I was back there at a month, I was already on regular diet now, and they had me listed as post-gastrectomy. So I had to call the doctor because I'm like, I can't get any food.
You're like, I'm not on phase 1, I'm on phase 3.
I know. I'm like, please change that prescription so I can eat. Yeah, it was pretty funny.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Well, I think I interrupted you when you were talking about your teeth. And tell us about your teeth and your bones. Are you having issues with those?
I had an implant prior to having my stomach out. And it's in the small print that you sign, but they don't really tell you they fail. You think implant, it's in my bones. I got, and mine's failing. So the bone around it is I'm losing bone around that implant. There's really nothing I can do about it. They want to take it out. The dentist has been asking me for 2 years to take it out. I said, when it wiggles, then we can take it out.
Yeah.
I don't want to take it out prematurely, but I had a crown down here, and I thought it was, I just had a root canal on the tooth behind it, and I had this crown. It was like, it felt loose. Here I am eating my sticky candy, right? I can feel it kind of moving. So I'm like, would you check that crown? And she goes to take the crown off, and the whole tooth broke off.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, it didn't hurt. I'd already had a root canal on that tooth, but, well, that's not true. Anyway, I had to have a root canal. So then I had 2 root canals, and I had a bridge there. So
I have so many crowns because I used to chew ice, so I had so many broken teeth, and I would probably.
Well, I wear
scares me.
I use it as a bite guard, but it's not a bite guard. It's a whitening tray, so it's like a soft plastic. Some people will chew right through that if you're really a tooth grinder. I ground my teeth, but not that much. So I wear one of those in the bottom at night, and it keeps things from being broken from ice or whatever. You don't ruin your teeth at night. But health-wise, I've been pretty good. I lost 50 pounds. So I'm still about 30 pounds above what my ideal weight is. I mean, the BMI can just suck it as far as I'm concerned because it says I'm still medically obese. My friends are like, no, you look great. But I'm finding it very difficult to lose weight afterwards. Now, everyone complains, I lose too much weight, I can't gain weight. I'm having the opposite problem.
Wow.
I'm not gaining weight. I'm not really paying attention to what I'm eating. I'm not eating low fat or low calorie. But the only way I lost weight was I did intermittent fasting, and I walked like 3 miles a couple times a week.
Oh, so you can intermittent fast without a stomach and not have a problem.
Well, hey, it's kind of easy because you never feel hungry.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. But your blood sugar remains okay.
It did. And I checked with Rachel, and she said as long as your blood sugar, you don't have the blood sugar swings, you can do it. And it worked for me. I didn't try it till I was like 2 years post. So, I wouldn't do it in the beginning at all. But, I mean, you're the first year, you're still like taking naps. And I'm lucky I'm a stay-at-home mom. I didn't have to work, so I could nap when I needed to. Sometimes if I eat too much or too fast, I tell my husband, I got to lay down. 3 hours later, I'm like, okay, I'm better.
Yeah.
Just your body just puts you out. But that happens all during the first year or two.
Wow. Thank goodness you had good support next to you.
I know.
That's so important. I feel
Does your son live with you guys?
Yes, unfortunately, both my kids still live at home.
I think that's
perfect.
That's going to be great.
How nice is that going to be? You're going to be like, honey, I know what you're doing. This is what you need to do.
Well, yeah. You guys have kids yet?
Yeah.
Okay. Kids don't want to listen to their parents.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. It's the same when they get to be adults, and they should know, hey, she's been through it. She knows what she's talking about. So I kind of just repeat what Rachel says. Rachel said, blah, blah, blah. Dr. David said, blah, blah. So I don't really put myself out there as, I'm your mom and I'm giving you a hard time.
Right. I wonder if that will change after the surgery. If he's going to be like, I need your advice, Mom.
I know.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. I hope so, because he's struggling now, and I know he's going to struggle afterwards. Yeah. But he doesn't have to do it. I'm just hoping he's not stage 2 when they take his stomach out, because if he is, then that's chemo and radiation.
Yeah. I know.
And I was lucky I didn't have to have that. I was stage 1A when they took mine out.
Yeah. Wow.
So
we'll be saying our prayers for him.
Yeah, that's February 13th, you said?
13th is my birthday. The 14th is his surgery.
Okay.
So we're hoping to maybe, if Washington, D.C. isn't shut down still in February, we're hoping to do some sightseeing.
I know.
Because we have to fly in on Thursday, and he has his prelims on Friday, and then Monday is his surgery.
Right. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So, and I heard a tip that, I didn't follow this tip, and I'm more honesty. I've been chronically constipated my entire life, including after I had my stomach out. You think, everyone has diarrhea, right? No. And I had to manage it very aggressively. I took Miralax every day without fail. I would, have whatever that calcium citrate, which is gross, but is a bomb, when you need to.
Right.
And I found drinking this liquid IV, I put a little bit of pineapple juice in it. I'm not sure if it's taking all the fluid or if it's the pineapple juice that has a little digestive enzyme in it, but I'm not constipated anymore.
That's a great advice.
And then you don't have to take all that medicine. Yeah.
I don't.
Have you ever tried taking the liquid natural calm? Does that work?
Magnesium. I don't know. Magnesium can give you diarrhea if you take too much of it.
Yeah.
And I used to take it to help moderate my constipation. We all need magnesium, but I didn't do it afterwards because the pills were too big.
Right. Yeah.
I couldn't stomach.
Well, they have the natural calm. It's like a powder and it's fizzy, and you just put a little bit.
You can't have fizzy, can you, without a stomach, right?
Well, you can have fizzy. I drink champagne and I've had beer.
Good.
Sorry. Here, let me go. Where's my? Is that my? Oh, here. You got to see this side here.
That's
my seahorse. I got a mimosa in here. Yes, a mimosa.
She's still partying into the new year.
Well, a little bit about alcohol. I don't know how much time we have left. When you drink alcohol, it goes immediately into your bloodstream when you don't have a stomach. So I can drink this much out of a drink and I'm buzzing.
Right. Yeah.
But half hour after I finish the drink, I'm sober.
Yeah.
So it goes straight through. So they caution you not to drink too much because if you like that feeling that the alcohol gives you, you have to keep drinking to have it.
Right.
I mean, keep drinking. So just a warning out there. You can drink alcohol eventually. I wouldn't do it in the first couple months. I think I waited till maybe 8 or 9 months before I tried a sip of wine, and that was fine. If you want to cut the fizzy down on a drink, like I drink soda occasionally, you put it over ice. Oh. So I put ice in the glass, put the champagne in there. That takes most of the bubbly out. Then I put a little fruit juice in there, and I'm good to go.
And Carrie and Chris said they put a fork in it and swirl it around, and it takes the bubbles.
Well, anything to break the bubbles. So the ice breaks the bubbles. The fork would break the bubbles. You could leave it sit, and it would deflate a little bit.
Right.
You could maybe shake it up, and then, if it doesn't fly out of the top or whatever you're shaking it in, take bubbles out.
These are such good tips.
I know. I'm
gonna need to call you after my surgery.
Anytime. I mean, you got my number now. I had to give it to you so you could get me on this live chat. But yeah, call me anytime. Text me, whatever. I am not shy about sharing about my journey or any information that I think might help somebody. And although everybody's different, there are a lot of similarities.
Yes. We appreciate you so much.
Yeah, we do. We do.
And I love your advice about not being in the valley, but to be on the hill. I think that was so beautiful.
Yeah. Well, when you're in the valley, you got to remember that you're in the valley.
Right.
You don't think it's going to be like this forever. I'm never going to blah, blah. Just think, right now I'm trudging through the valley. I got mud all over my shoes. I can see there's a path upward, and I'm going to go forward to get up there. Because if you just stick and don't do anything different,
right.
You don't, do the same thing or you get the same thing.
You
do something different.
Top, right?
Right. And
one step at a
my
time.
faith, my faith was definitely a big part of my journey. Not that, if you don't believe in God, you can't get through this. You can, but you'll have to find something to anchor yourself.
Right.
That it'll be all right in the end. That's my faith. I know where I'm going. If I die today, I'd be fine.
Yeah.
I don't want to die today, and I don't, but that my faith has really got me through it.
Yeah, that's great.
So now I'm having, since I have to eat, it's an hour past when I should have eaten.
Oh my gosh!
I'm trying to have some burps and
we're gonna
a little.
let you go.
And there goes the doorbell.
All right, well, Cheryl,
Probably
thank
should
you
end
so
this, 'cause that
much.
was-
You were incredible, and we just appreciate you so much. So. Yes, and we'll keep
Thank
your
you for
son
having
and
me.
you in your prayers. Yes. So.
Yeah, send me a link or put it on the group so I can get a link, and I'll put it on my Facebook.
We'll do.
Awesome.
All right.
Bye, Cheryl.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Bye. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Oh. Bye, everyone. Thanks for watching.